Hey YouTube, this is Steve from IDP Plus, and I'm here for your Week 11 waiver wire video to help you guys out with those defensive players to try to figure out maybe there are some players out there to help give you an edge. We are almost towards the end of the season, or at least regular season of fantasy. So the next 4 to 5 weeks are very crucial, and hopefully these videos are going to help you guys out. And of course, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that like button, and of course, jump right into our idpplus.com. You've got some great articles there as well. I've got my article there to give you even more players than what I'm going to tell you here. So I've got 5 players here that are going to help you out with a successful waiver wire grab. Now, the first player I'm going to mention, I've mentioned before, is going to be Grover Stewart for the Indianapolis Colts. Look, I've mentioned him I don't know how many times this season, and it's just frustrating to see that he's still out there. He comes into week 11 as the number 3 defensive tackle in fantasy right now, only behind Cameron Hayward and behind Dexter Lawrence for the Giants. So 2 outstanding defensive tackles, and Stewart is right there. Yeah, he continues to be on waivers. I see his rostering percentage, and it's super low, and I don't understand. Stewart's coming off a really good game, another double-digit performance 2 weeks in a row, and he had a sack, 8 total tackles, which is fantastic, something he's not normally doing. But he has been able to make sacks happen. He's been able to at least average 3 to 4 tackles a game. So as far as defensive tackles, if you guys are playing in that type of format, he needs to be rostered a lot more. Now, jumping into the next position, which is going to be defensive end, I like Kancey here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After missing the first 5 weeks, obviously he's been kind of forgotten, but he's doing a really good job. And coming into week 11, he is the 3rd best active defensive end as far as average points per game with 8.4. So since he's been back, he is the 3rd best defensive end as far as averaging points. So that's fantastic. He's coming off, again, 4 sacks so far, which is amazing. 2 double-digit performances back to back, and he's got really good matchups coming up with, got the Panthers. You got the Raiders. There are some really good matchups for him, and I think he's got to only develop and even more into a better defensive end for your fantasy lineups. Now, again, like I mentioned before, I've got even more players on my article on idpplus.com. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you go to the website, subscribe to the website. You actually use promo code PROPS. You get 20% off your subscription. And of course, you can have access to articles like I've got on here. Of course, more players, our start and sits, obviously access to the Discord, anything else like that.
Well, I was looking for a prize for my new league, a belt or a ring or a nice trophy. My IDP guys went and had my back. The best swag online for champs is found on Trophy Smack. RING, that spells ring. TrophySmack.com has the bling. Good, so good, I have to sing. Go and check them out, they have everything. I can show that I'm the master of my craft. I'm a champion in fantasy and I won't let you forget that. RING, that spells ring. TrophySmack.com has the bling. Use promo code IDPGuys at checkout for a free ring on TrophySmack.com.
So make sure you guys check that out. Now, I've got 3 more players I want to mention. The next player, we're going to jump into the linebacker spot. Now, linebackers, I've got a couple players here. I've got DeMarvion Overshown for the Dallas Cowboys. Any offensive player for Dallas Cowboys, I'm probably, like most, you're probably kind of hesitant on. But as far as the defensive side, I like Overshown a lot. He has been available pretty much most of this year, and he has been kind of inconsistent, so I understand kind of holding off. But as far as a linebacker 2 goes, if you're going to put him in your lineup, I think he's a great position. Right now, against the Philadelphia Eagles, their rival, he had an amazing game putting complete pressure on Jalen Hurts. He had 2 sacks in that game, 2 quarterback hits. He even finished with, I think, just over 19 fantasy points, which was amazing. Overshown is definitely a guy who, like Micah Parsons, can have some splash plays and have an amazing week, which will help you out. He can lay some duds, so just be careful and understand that there is a chance that he might have an average 3 or 4 point game. But his upside is so strong. I mean, again, 12 total tackles, 2 sacks, outstanding. And Overshown has actually done a really good job, and he's definitely worth grabbing, especially since realistically, most teams are going to be ahead of the Dallas Cowboys the way they're playing, which means there's going to be a lot of rushing, going towards and running against the Dallas Cowboys, giving Overshown opportunities to make more tackles. And again, sometimes if they're up just a little bit, against some maybe softer offensive line, I think Overshown has the ability to obviously make sacks there as well. And the last linebacker I want to mention is going to be Josey Jewell for the Carolina Panthers. Now, I understand the Panthers, like the Bucs, are on a bye week, but these are players you should start considering grabbing if you can roster them, because Josey Jewell is definitely a forgotten player after leaving the Denver Broncos. And a lot of it was because he's missed some time this season, which is completely understandable. But Josey Jewell just finished with a 13-point game in week 10 against obviously a lowly Giants. He had a fumble recovery, an interception. He had a few tackles, I think 6 total in that one. He has not been the tackling machine I would love for him to be, like where he was last year with the Denver Broncos. But he's going to be a linebacker who's their star linebacker, I guess you want to call it that, for the Carolina Panthers. And he's definitely going to be a reliable starter kind of going into the rest of the year. He's more of a linebacker too. So if you're rostering 2 linebackers on your team, he's definitely going to be a linebacker too. But I do like his matchups going forward. Again, when you're talking teams that aren't being able to score a lot and they're kind of behind, they're going to be run on against, which means obviously opportunities for your linebackers to get more tackles. So I like him. And the last player I'm going to mention is going to be Jeremy Chinn for the Commanders. Now, I liked Jeremy Chinn. He was amazing, especially early on in his career for the Carolina Panthers. He was one that just was outstanding. But you can see he's starting to get more and more comfortable in the Dan Quinn defense, who I had high hopes. I had really high hopes for Jeremy Chinn coming into this. I thought he was going to be like their Donovan Wilson type of player, and he's starting to show up a lot for the Commanders. Now, that defense isn't great yet. Sometimes it takes some time for defenses to kind of really gel, but Chinn looks really, really good. Right now, Chinn in the last 2 games has averaged 14 points in fantasy. He's had 24 tackles in those 2 games, which is amazing. And right now he finished in week 10, 12 tackles, pass deflection, interception. And again, something that I think he can continue to go forward, getting closer to that double-digit performance. He's not going to be a guy who's going to get a lot of interceptions. I even think he can even get a sack, just kind of moving him around. But again, as a defensive back 2 with some defensive back 1 upside, Jeremy Chinn is definitely a player you should consider grabbing and putting on your roster. So those are my 5 top players that I think you should grab in waivers this week. Now, if you haven't already, again, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Check out the idpplus.com. Again, my article is out there to help you guys out. Again, I've got a lot more players there than just the 5 I've mentioned here. If you guys do have questions of who you should pick up or anything like that, of course, hit me up in the comments down below. I'd love to help you guys out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.